Man, oh man. That Trump debate was crazy. That Trump debate was, it was crazy. I was on TikTok and my opinion was so not popular. I think people was butthurt. They thought Kamala was gonna do better. They thought Kamala was gonna do better. She did. She did terrible. She did horrible. She did terrible, horrible. She did terrible and horrible at the same time. It was so terrible. It's so horrible. She wasn't trying to stick to no facts. She wasn't trying to talk about no policies. You could just tell the Democrats been used to being to playing in our faces. Like his rebuttals was just. He was like, she was like, you got all these cases, all the stuff that they've been saying about him. He was like, they cases y'all made up because y'all was abusing y'all power. Trump ate her ass the fuck up. Okay. I said, when Trump was in office, you can actually get online and talk about some shit. Now you can't talk about shit. You can't talk about shit. Censorship is at an all-time fucking high. That shit is high. Like you can't say shit. You can't say nothing. I just got taken down. Got a community guideline and had to fucking download YouTube. Like let me download YouTube. At least I can go over there. You know, all time high. That shit is crazy. She lost like a motherfucker. There's motherfuckers in my comments right now. Oh no, she did a good job. No, she didn't do a good job. She's not doing a good job. And as the debate was over and she lost real bad, now all of a sudden America and NATO is going to war. Mind you, she said NATO is one of the strong is the strongest European whatever. First of all, NATO is not a nation. NATO is a collection of nations. That's number one. NATO is not a nation. And number two, it's not bigger. Hey, what's up? It's not bigger than fucking Russia. It's not bigger than Russia. It's not. Russia is big as shit. And Putin is not no fucking dummy like these people. One day chilling. Like after I watched that debate, I was like, phew, child, Putin. They talking about they gonna attack um Russia. Child, what Trump say? They got nuclear capabilities. That's the only way Kamala gonna get in office. Ukraine Russia war. Biden working on lifting long range weapons bans. Now it does say live UN Council holds a briefing on Ukraine. And Trump was slapping her around about the Ukraine. He was asking her, yo, it put it to in the chat, right? He said, he said, you went and talked to Zelensky and in Russia. What's his name? Putin. She never talked to Putin, but she talked to Zelensky. And 3 days later, he went to war. He made her look so bad. Did anybody else watch? He made her look terrible. He made her look terrible. He made her look so fucking bad. I was so proud of that man. He made her look so bad. Because it's not about being black. It's about being equipped for the job. It's about not signing us away. Okay? She was like, NATO is the strongest. Child, NATO is not big enough to fuck with Russia. And Russia got some allies that's pissed off with America. Okay? They got some allies that's pissed off.
One here in need of a job. What? That doesn't matter because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news. And the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by whiskers. So he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So
How
let's
many
be
times
clear
they gonna
about
say
that.
that?
And clearly he is having a very difficult time
How many times they
processing
gonna
that.
say that?
But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have
Psych.
talked with military leaders, some of whom work with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this
goodness,
way
when he hit
in
her
a
with this.
presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have.
Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry.
You 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man. He's a tough person, smart. Prime Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him. Look at what's going on with North Korea, by the way. He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that. But he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president, but when this pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if you weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time is
I think we're going to do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate
Don't the
with
Bible say that
Netanyahu
when we say
and
peace and
also Hamas in
security
order to get the
and
hostages
suddenly
out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
If I were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different...
hold on, y'all. I'm sorry.
They were broke. Now they're a rich nation. And now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around. Look at what's happening with the Houthis and Yemen. Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled and fast, and I'll get the war with Ukraine and Russia ended. If I'm president-elect, I'll get it done before even becoming president.
Vice President Harris, he says you hate Israel.
That's absolutely not true. I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy. It is well known that he admires dictators, wants to be a dictator on day one, according to himself. It is well known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un. And it is absolutely well known that these dictators and autocrats are rooting for you to be president again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with have told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security, including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it. That
Y'all, it's all over TikTok. He was telling her ass off.
weights are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins. And I think he meant it, because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way, gets
President
paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this
Did he just
historic
shut him
ABC
off?
News presidential debate from
Did
the
he
National
just shut him
Constitution
off like
Center
that, though?
right here in Philadelphia.
Y'all, I'm